all but Mommy's family. Great supportive community, close-knit caring family. We're non-judgy, blanket fuzzy, stigma-free. All but Mommy's family, friends, family, and community. We all but Mommy's family. Teacher sharing is our key. Great big thanks to you all.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Stigma Stompers, Nami Erie County PA's one and only podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Abby.
And I'm your other host, Janana.
Today, we are talking about music therapy and a lot of other super cool things with Cindy Legwaila. She is a board-certified music therapist, hospice and palliative certified care, and then also certified in autism movement therapy. Lots and lots of things. Very, very cool things. So can you just start by telling us more about yourself and what inspired you to pursue a career in music therapy, but like the other aspects of your career as well?
Sure. I've been a board certified music therapist for 18 years now. I grew up with music in my life. I played flute since I was 10 years old. I knew that I loved music, but knew I didn't want to be a music teacher. And thought I was going to be a psychologist. Started doing some volunteer work at a nursing home, and they had an art therapist, thank God. And I just thought it was so interesting how all these people that were super subdued and, you know, inside themselves otherwise were all of a sudden like creating this amazing artwork and really coming out of their shells and telling these stories. And she said to me, you know, there's such thing as music therapy. And I was like, no, I had no clue. And so it's a perfect combination of music and psychology. And the rest is history, really. I became hospice and palliative care certified after being in long-term care for a very long time. I was actually an activities director for 8 years in a nursing home before I started my own private practice. Wow. And just realized how important music is at end of life as well. I actually got my training right after my mom passed and like during my dad passing as well. So it was really interesting for me to see it from both sides, as the provider and as someone, you know, that could benefit from it myself. Autism movement therapy came to me because a client that I had at one point, his mom said to me, hey, there's this thing, and would you get certified in it if I paid for it? Oh, wow. And I was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting because I was working with a lot of clients with autism at the time, and I was doing a lot of movement and dance with them anyway, but it just taught me a little bit more about like the bilateral use of movement along with music, along with speech, along with creativity in general, story making, things like that. So that's how I came to do that as well.
Wow.
That's exciting.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Oh my
I love
goodness.
that.
So for those who aren't familiar, I know I'm not too familiar. Can you explain a little bit what each one of those credentials are?
So as a board certified music therapist, a music therapist has to go through 4 years of training. It's a bachelor's degree in music therapy. And then we also have to do a 6-month internship and then pass a certification, a board certification test. Hospice and palliative care certification. I don't even remember how many hours it was, but it's a several hour long course. I think it was like 4 different classes all together covering all the different aspects of hospice, working with kids, working with older adults, working with the bereaved, and just some general counseling skills as well. and autism movement therapy. Again, I believe it was a multi-day certification. This was a long time ago. And something that you get recertified on a regular basis as well.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So like you said, you worked with a wide range of people from birth to end of life. How do you adapt your approach for different age demographics?
Sure. Can I explain a little bit more about specifically music therapy?
Yeah.
Because obviously that's like my main thing.
Yeah, please do.
And I think at one point you had asked me like, how does it differ from just enjoying music, right? And I get this question all the time, right? my most basic answer is you use music to help with non-musical goals. The official definition is that it's a clinical and evidence-based use of music interventions to accomplish individualized goals, so specifically for that person, within a therapeutic relationship, so working with the therapist by a credentialed professional, like I just explained. And so there's a wide range of things that can look like. Essentially, doing an assessment with someone, figuring out what their needs are, what their past preferences were in music, whether it was singing or dancing or going to concerts or engaging in dancing, and then figuring out what their current strengths are and then what their needs might be. Like, what things are we supporting here? So at one point when my kids were young, I was doing a mommy and me music class that I specifically called Empowerment Through Music, because it was teaching moms how to use music to get through all those daily things that we struggle with. Mm-hmm. Things like bath time and bedtime and cutting fingernails, and also just in general promoting the bonding experience with your new baby, right? I do a lot of work with teens, more in the fashion of how to use music as a coping skill. So how to deal with stress, how to focus better, how to express our emotions. For older adults, which is my specialty, I specialize in Alzheimer's and dementia care. It's a wide variety of things. First and foremost, when an older adult is in a facility, it's socialization, right? Mm-hmm. Finding that community of people that you can be with in a brand new place. So it's helping to promote that. Working on relationship building through instrument play or singing together, creating music together. Sometimes discussing lyrics and reminiscing about certain parts of their lives related to the music. I do a lot of movement to music too, because, if you don't use it, you lose it, which is also very true of your voice. So I'm constantly reminding everybody, they're like, oh, we can't sing anymore. I'm like, it's a muscle. You just got to work it out the same way that you do the rest of your body. And then, moving into end of life, sometimes that's helping create legacy projects for them to leave behind for loved ones. Sometimes it's just support for the caregivers or the loved ones during that process at the end of their life as well. It's a lot.
So if someone, hey, it's tremendous work though. I know music in general helps. I know if I'm feeling down or something, I enjoy listening to music. But if someone doesn't think they have musical talent, but they want to still participate in music therapy, are they still able to? And what does that look like?
Yeah. So again, like that's like one of the very first questions I ask someone is, did you ever play an instrument? Did you ever sing? Did you ever dance? Did you ever go to concerts, right? Or what kind of music do you like, period? Because there's so many different ways to engage in music. It can be listening to a song and discussing it. It can be rewriting your favorite song, which I've done many times. And sometimes it's a very passive experience. Sometimes it's more me playing and them taking it in and then us having a discussion. Sometimes it's them literally singing and playing and dancing along with me. So, and there's a lot of people that never did music that are very musical in their lives, right? So yeah, no prior music experience necessary.
I love that.
Beautiful. I love that, like, describing what you do for each age demographic. I like that it's so kind of person-centered and you get to know them first. I feel like that's really important in, like, any kind of therapy.
Yeah.
Can you share what that means in practice and why that's important to you and the work that you do?
Yeah. So like I said, everyone's past music experiences are different. I, have some people that like used to coordinate concerts. They were not musicians themselves, but they were the person that brought everybody together. And so for that person, it's more like, okay, who are the best local artists, having discussions about that or having them talk more about music. Maybe it's just someone growing up with music around them, and so it affects them that way. I think the kind of music that will affect a person is different too, right? We all have our own individual music preferences. So I have someone that literally can't stand country music because her son moved to Tennessee, and so she associates country music with him moving away. So different things like that, knowing those things. There really is like no set formula for how music therapy is going to look for each person. And I guess I really just think of personalized or person-centered care approach as really enabling the person to decide what that's going to look like for them. If I can have that conversation. And if not, they can usually tell me either by their facial expressions or their body movements or how they engage in music, what that's going to look like. I often, I can do up to like 10 group sessions in a week. Wow. At various different facilities, everything from assisted living, independent living, long-term care. I do some adult day groups. So I try to have a plan in mind when I go in there. I try to keep it somewhat the same topic so that my brain isn't all over the place. But it's individualized for each group. I'm pulling out the person that likes to dance with me during the more upbeat songs. I'm asking the person that's a really great singer to help lead a song. And then like asking those trivia questions to the people that may not be musically inclined, but know a lot about music. I have one client right now that used to be a DJ, and so he literally knows every artist and every song. And everyone gets a voice. Like, that's the main thing. Everyone gets a voice in whatever way that looks for them. They get a chance to have a meaningful contribution to the group. And meaning is what keeps us going, right? No matter what age or condition we're in, when we have our purpose in life, that's what keeps us going. So that is really my main goal for all the things I do.
Absolutely.
Love that.
Yeah. That's amazing because it really, I mean, no matter what age you are or what your situation is, everyone can relate to music. So
Right.
I love that.
Right.
So talking more about mental health, How can music therapy be beneficial for mental health? And are there any specific mental health conditions or symptoms it tends to help with the most?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, music is something that most people love. I think I've literally maybe had 2 people in my entire 18 years ever say to me, music isn't really my thing. And then I'm like, okay, you really are not appropriate for music therapy. But there's the saying, what we think about, we bring about. And I think that's so true of the music that we listen to. You can pick more positive messages to be listening to. And also, music can be very triggering. And so when I'm working in the mental health world, which really is everywhere, right? No matter what population you're working with, it's just important to keep those triggers in mind. Just yesterday, I was doing a session, a Memorial Day session, singing a lot of patriotic songs, and giving everyone a chance to share people that they've lost, that they would like to remember. And this guy just came into the group, and I started singing My Country 'Tis of Thee, and he just broke down, like immediately broke down. And so now I know that he can't handle patriotic music. He was a vet himself, and we did some processing afterwards, but it's being aware of that and knowing when to stop and when you can keep going. And luckily there was staff there that was able to, guide him out of the group and whatnot. But in substance abuse treatment, especially, there's a lot of music that people listened to while they were using. And so knowing those triggers, like helping them to identify those triggers, to sometimes not use the original recorded version, but play a version live that won't trigger as much. And then just on the opposite end, again, being able to figure out how to bring in that positive, in those positive messages and the things that you want to be thinking about to get you to the right place. So I can't say that there's a specific condition or symptom that it helps the most. I think a lot of things can be helped by music, as I listed all those things before, Did that answer your question?
Yes, absolutely. One of our past interviews we did was with an individual, a local artist, C. Brown. So he also says the same thing of, the power that music truly has and how it can change your mindset. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
Have you ever produced your own music? Or
I have not.
No.
Okay.
I
all my clients are always like, oh, you should go on the road, you should gig yourself. And that I don't feel is my purpose in life. My purpose in life is to do music with people, to bring out their talents and showcase them. So that's not really my thing.
Hey, everyone's purpose is different,
Fair.
but I
That's
love
right.
that. Yeah, you're helping other people.
That's
so
right.
That's a huge thing.
Yeah.
Have you ever had moments in any of your groups or sessions where someone's had kind of a breakthrough moment from the music?
Yeah, I mean, all the time. But I have this one client in particular. She had a stroke when she was in her early 60s, now 65, working living at a facility. And she's had a lot of childhood trauma. And she loves music. She's one of those, I never really sang, I never really played, but she knows all the artists and has quite the wide range of music tastes. And she was kind of in this slump of feeling really down and really discouraged, and going down those rabbit holes of her trauma. And I was like, let's write our own song about like your favorite things, right? And so one of her favorite songs is "I Love This Bar." By Toby
Good
Keith.
song.
And so we rewrote it, and her song was "I Love My Camper." And this woman is generally bedbound, doesn't really choose to come out of bed often. But that song inspired her husband in the facility so much, they actually got her to go to her camper that summer.
Aww.
And I really think that really rebuilt her relationship with her husband as well. She ended up writing a song about how they met, to Forever and Ever Amen, and to the tune of that. And he has like put up the lyrics, framed all the lyrics of her songs and put them up in his house. And they actually renewed their vows last May, and asked me to be part of their wedding ceremony.
Gosh.
And I got to sing Forever and Ever Amen, or their version of that, and some of the other favorite songs that she wanted to dedicate to him specifically about their life together. And there's one more piece of this story. She recently got a diagnosis of kidney failure, and I was like told that she was not going to make it at all. And we had started talking about writing a song to When I'm 64. Her version was called Now I'm Sexy 64. And through writing this song, it was really an empowerment song. This was her song. You know, it was about her and how sassy she is and the things that she likes to eat, and how like, you can tell me what you want to do, but I'm gonna do things my way, right? I still have that empowerment in me. And I came back to see her the next week. Like, we had finished writing the song. I came back to record it with her, and she was sitting up in her wheelchair. This woman that never gets out of bed. And she was feeling great that day and sang that song the best I've seen her sing, you know, having had a stroke. And there's a part in the song about her wheelchair and about her horn on her wheelchair, and she was able to actually like press the horn. And she pretty much said, "Forget you, like, I'm living." And she's great. Like, she's still going, and her kidney levels have gotten better. And like, I truly think she decided to live.
Oh my gosh.
So
It just kept getting better.
yeah.
My gosh.
Yeah. She made that decision. I you know, we often say that you can really, truly make that decision, right? You can wish yourself better. And that was really the case for her. So that was really cool.
That's so cool. Oh my gosh.
That is amazing to think about. As you were telling the story, I got goosebumps.
Yeah.
Just
I got goosebumps
hearing
saying it
it.
again.
Yeah, and I can't even
so
imagine
cool.
how it must have felt to be in that situation and see it firsthand. I mean,
Yeah.
wow.
That's so
I'm
cool.
speechless.
Oh my gosh. I really don't even have words for it. Like, I have nothing to add.
Yeah.
It's just so cool.
That is
That's such a
absolutely
good story.
And that, I mean, that's one of those, like, it's very much her decisions about everything we do too. You know, it's very client led. I make suggestions here and there, but when she has something that she wants to do, she does it. And I do a talent show every year at that facility. And so we've shared her songs every year, and the staff always gets a kick out of it. They're always like, "Wow, she did this?" Like, yeah, she did.
wow.
that.
That's so cool.
Oh my gosh.
I love that.
That has to be, I mean, the work you're doing, seeing that, so worth it
Yeah.
just to be able to see that happen.
I know. I had a nurse practitioner get on the elevator with me at at the veterans home the other day and say, thank you for what you do. And I was like, I have the best job in the world. I get to come and make people happy with music every day.
That is amazing.
You literally get to have your two passions combined and then like have stories like that.
Yeah.
Like that's
I'm very
a dream.
Yes.
So I know we touched on it a little bit, but do you have more to add on the role music therapy has in grief support and caregiver support? And how does it help individuals process their difficult emotions that they might be going through in that situation?
Yeah. I have up on my wall in my studio at home the Hans Christian Andersen quote, "When words fail, music speaks." Mm-hmm. And I really feel that, especially in end of life and grief support, sometimes the music can say something that we don't even have the words for. Somebody else has had the words, right? Mm-hmm. And we hear it and we're like, oh yeah. I remember like my very first moment of feeling that was I was 12 years old and my grandmother had died. And that was the year that One Sweet Day by Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men came out. Mm-hmm. And it was like everything that I was feeling, mm-hmm. right? And I was like, oh, my parents may not be talking to me about how I'm feeling. Mm-hmm. Nobody else is. My friends don't really understand it. They haven't lost anybody. But this song gets me, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. I am very lucky to be at one facility on an extended care campus where I get to see people through their entire journey. So they come in assisted living. Sometimes they get dementia and they go to the dementia care unit, and then sometimes their body starts to fail, and so then they have to go to skilled nursing. When I'm able to know a person so well that I know all their favorite songs and can sit with them at the end of their life with their loved ones and share my memories with them in music and how engaged they were in music, even if they're not now, and maybe share a little piece of them that their loved one didn't know. I think that's really powerful. And again, just holding that space, creating that space for them to be together. I so wish that I had that experience with my parents, that had been available. My mom was on hospice. Mm-hmm. There's no music therapist in hospice in Crawford County. Mm-hmm. There needs to be. Yeah. But I do remember the church coming over and singing one day. Mm-hmm. And so that was my music therapy mm-hmm. moment, and I was like, if we can have more of that time, because I didn't know what to say either. I didn't know what to say to her. I was one of her primary caregivers. At the end, she was diagnosed and passed within 6 months. So it all happened very fast. Wow. And I knew her favorite music, though. And so, she died right before Christmas, too. So we were playing a lot of Christmas music, a lot of her favorite Christmas music, a lot of her other music. And so when I didn't have the words to say, I had the music to play, mm-hmm. right? So whether it's a music therapist or you're doing it yourself, sometimes it's just that, right? And also, music helps you feel emotions more strongly, like we were talking about before. So it gives you the space for crying or being angry or whatever it is that you're going through. It allows you to get through those stress cycles. And yeah, I'll talk a little bit more about that later, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like the people that aren't into music, I feel like they don't, it's not that they don't get it, but they maybe not realize how big music is in their lives. So like watching a movie with like an incredible soundtrack.
Right.
Like the scene may be sad without the music, but the music is like hitting home.
It's everything.
Like that is doing like way more than the scene alone would do.
Yes.
Like that's why Star Wars has an iconic soundtrack. That's why like Indiana Jones has an iconic soundtrack.
I just got a request for Indiana Jones yesterday. It's so funny you say that.
Like the soundtracks that are so big and famous are that way because they provoke emotion.
Yeah.
It's like, it seems simple, but I mean, not everyone thinks about it that way. I, for some reason, think about it all the time, like musical soundtracks or like movie soundtracks. That's like a frequent thought in my mind. So I think about it, but like not everyone does. So I think that just putting it into perspective for them, or even something like music therapy for end of life care for like someone's loved one, maybe they would have never realized that hearing their mom sing like a song and they've never heard her sing, like what that could do for them in their grieving process.
Yeah.
That's just so, I can't even think of another word other than like cool and like so important.
Yeah.
I can't even like, my mom sings like funny, but I can't imagine having like a nice recording of her singing a song that like she even wrote.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be so cool.
I know. I mean, I still listen to, you know, the voicemails of my parents, you know, and if a music therapist would come to create a song out of those voicemails, that would be great if I didn't have to do it myself. But yeah, I had a client a couple years ago who, I'm trying to think of the song. I think she sang Blessed Assurance for one of our talent shows. And her family requested a video of it, and they played it at her funeral.
Oh my gosh.
I had another client who I actually was working with her during COVID, so I wasn't allowed in the nursing home, but they were great enough to like have me Zoom sessions. So she had dementia that caused her to repeat the same stories a lot. And so I decided, well, why don't we write these stories down? And so we created a whole playlist of songs, again, piggyback songs to her favorite tunes, talked about, you know, being on the farm and growing up in a certain school. And so like we did school days and in the garden and songs like that. And when I was able to be back in person with her again, we recorded the songs, made a CD, and then printed out all the lyrics. And she picked, like, she helped me make the album cover
That's
for
so
all
fun.
of that. And so then after she passed, I don't know what condition the book was in anymore, but I was able to pass those songs on to her family after she passed as well.
That's
so,
such a nice thing to have.
yeah,
too.
sometimes we got to think about those things before the end is there, right? Things that I wish I had done myself. So, yeah.
And I know you said there's not too many music therapists out there, that we need more. I know it was my first time when I met you, even learning about music therapy. I knew people, you know, they listen to music when they're sad or happy, depending, but I didn't know it was an actual profession. What would you like for viewers to know if they might want to go down that track?
Of finding a music therapist or becoming a music therapist. So Marcy Hurst actually has a music therapy program, which a lot of people don't realize. And there is another, you know, bigger music therapy company in Erie, as well as a few of us in private practice. But musictherapy.org is the place that you can get all of your information about music therapy. I personally went to Nazareth College in Rochester, so that's not too far from here. Slippery Rock has a program as well, and I believe Duquesne has a program as well. So and Fredonia Fredonia also in New York also has a program. So there's several in the area. And if you ever have questions, you can feel free to reach out to me. I have, I've passed on a lot of music therapy students, so which is exciting over my years. Had them come observe me while they were deciding whether they wanted to be music therapists, or before they went to college. I actually just had two come observe me that are freshmen at Nazareth right now. So they came in and observed me for one of their classes on their break. So yeah.
That's exciting.
I like being able to pass it on.
Yeah.
If someone wants to find a music therapist, what can they do?
Again, that musictherapy.org is a great place. If it's not somewhere local, you can like put in your address or your zip code, and it'll pull up music therapists in your area as well.
Perfect.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of stigma around mental health treatment, creative art therapies, etc. What misconceptions do you often hear about music therapy, and how do you address those?
I mean, the biggest one is I do music therapy. When someone says like they listen to their favorite music to make them feel better, right? And yes, you are using music therapeutically. But it is really the difference of a music therapist coming in to assess, doing constant evaluation, even during the middle of the session, adjusting as needed, keeping documentation of what is happening, being part of a care team, taking in all the things that are happening in someone's life and figuring out where best they need to be. I often even will like state during my sessions what is happening or what I see happening so that other staff members can understand the little things I'm observing that maybe they don't even notice or see, because that's what I'm trained to do. I'm trained to look for the toe tapping or the little smile or someone humming even if their mouth isn't moving, like, those subtle things. So yeah, there's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of work to be done still, that's why I was so excited for you guys to ask me to do this, because I was like, yes, let's talk about music therapy. I want more people to know about it. Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
I feel like sometimes people think that there's like talk therapy and that's it. Where like some people aren't really that great at talking through their emotions, where like they could paint it or they could sing it. Right. So like considering all avenues is really important in healing whatever it is you're going through. So educating people on the fact that music therapy is a thing and that they can do it is really important. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah. We were excited too to have you join us. Are there simple ways people can use music intentionally at home to boost their mood or manage stress? My biggest suggestion is always like intentional playlists. Don't just have that random playlist of all your favorite songs, but having the playlist that is going to get your butt out of bed. Having that playlist that is going to help you get your cleaning done. Having the playlist that is going to give you time to cry.
I have that.
Yeah, right. I know sometimes it'll be like, okay, I'm going to let myself sit here and be sad for 2 songs, right? And then I have to get on with life. Yeah. So I think that's the easiest thing for us all to do, especially because there's so many avenues to be able to do that now, where we don't have to make a mixtape like we did back in the day, right?
It's as easily as like add to playlists on
Spotify. Exactly. I personally, I personally also have also made playlists for both of my parents. And so when I'm feeling lonely or like an orphan, that I am, I will sometimes play their music just to comfort me, you know, or allow me to cry. So, yeah, I think that intentional playlists for sure.
Definitely. Do you have any go-to songs or like even just genres or types of music when you recommend that you would recommend when someone's feeling like anxious, sad, overwhelmed?
You know, this is so personalized. I think it's really hard to say. Some people do really well with like ambient music. Some people need the words. Some people just need the sounds. Like, I can't stand anything with any sort of melody in it when I'm sleeping. It just has to be sounds.
I'll sing along.
Right? Exactly. I'll be thinking about what's happening as far as chord changes or something like that. So, but I think the thing that I try to teach everyone is basic, like, bilateral stimulation and breathing, because it's something that anybody can do. And you can do it anywhere without it being in someone's face. So the basic premise of this is that, like, your heartbeat, your breathing generally have a rhythm to it. So using rhythm to get your body regulated again is just it. So I don't know if you want to do it with me.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I often teach it tapping, but we're gonna go here just for visual sake. So I like this too because it's like you're holding yourself. Right.
it's
You're
a
giving
hug,
yourself a hug. And bilateral stimulation just means that you're stimulating both sides of your body. So whether you're here or you're down on your lap, I teach kids down on your lap, you know, for school. They can hide that, right? And so you generally like have this rhythm that you are more set to in your own space. Doing it together, we're probably going to be out of sync or want to sing to each other. But and then I teach square breathing just because, again, it's so rhythmic and orderly, like our body likes. So you breathe in for 4 beats, you hold it for 4 beats or 4 taps, we'll say 4 taps, and then you breathe out for 4 taps and you hold it out for 4 taps. So it goes like this. So 1, hold, out, hold. So in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. And the idea is, like, when you're super anxious, you're probably going to be going faster. And so then you want to try to, like, slow down your beat and make your breaths longer.
Yeah.
And it'll slow down your heart rate. And it'll make everything kind of...
I love that.
Wow, I love that.
I actually think I learned that technique first by Jim Donovan, who I think is actually going to be doing some sessions around here. He's a drum circle guy. And he was teaching it all along to a lot of kids with autism, just trying to regulate bodies. And he wasn't sleeping well at night. And so he's like, oh, maybe I should practice when I preach. And so he started doing that at night before he went to bed and ended up sleeping for 8 hours for the first time in like 4 years.
Wow.
So sometimes if my brain is going at night, like especially if you are consciously counting, then your brain can't think about all the other things. Right? And so laying in bed, I do it like this too, because that's a little bit easier while you're laying down. So yeah, it's usually one of the first things I teach everybody.
I love that.
It's so simple to remember and easy to do no matter where you're at. And like you said, if you want it more discreet, you can just...
Exactly. So you were
on your lap.
sitting in a meeting, someone
Yeah.
saying something that you don't particularly agree with.
There
You're
we
like,
go.
Just breathe.
That's so funny.
Fair. Yeah. Sometimes life can be stressful.
Or, you're taking a test and you're like, oh my God, I don't know this question. My brain's freaking out right now. Whatever.
Yeah.
Love that.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that with us
You're
and our
welcome.
viewers today. In your practice, how have you seen the field of music therapy evolve, especially in relation to mental health care?
So music therapy has actually been around since the 1950s, which nobody knows. And yet still here in Erie and with Mercyhurst being here, many don't seem to have a firm grasp on it. But what is happening nationally is that music therapy is getting licensure in a lot of states, which still hasn't happened yet in Pennsylvania, but the state task force is working very hard for that to happen, as more music therapists share their stories of what happens when someone can't afford music therapy because insurance won't cover it, or things like that. We are hoping that will happen quickly, and there will just be more coverage and more knowledge. But in general, like, being in private practice for over 10 years, I've started my practice twice. And the second time around, it was a lot easier. So I can tell that it's starting to be like, oh yeah, I know what music therapy is. I want music therapy. And then sometimes it's just the funding piece that is like still being figured out, right? So I hope to see some significant changes over the next couple of years as far as that goes. But yeah, it's definitely being used everywhere, like I mentioned. So I've done everything since being here in Pennsylvania. I've done everything from being at the Women's Correctional Facility to doing stuff with well teens to doing stuff at the Veterans Home and all the skilled nursing. So it's growing. It's growing.
I love that.
It's amazing.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Hopefully the funding gets figured out, because I think it is important to have that as something that insurance covers.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Definitely. You kind of told us a really, really amazing story already, but is there any other story or moment in your career that has stayed with you and reminds you of why your work matters?
I wrote down, I can't pick one. Every day I go to work reminds me of why this matters. And I will just share what happened before I came here today because I had another moment. I was doing my Memorial Day session for the Veterans Home, and I picked the song "I'll Be Seeing You." It's a very popular song from the 40s about remembering your loved one and all the things you see and smell and taste. It was also in The Notebook. That's where
that song.
first
Yeah.
When you talk about soundtracks, that was exactly what I thought of.
That one.
And one of the guys just started getting tears in his eyes, and I was like, okay, this is a very thoughtful, touching song. And I went over to him afterwards to ask him if he had any memories to share about the person he was talking about. And he said, yes, but before I do, I just have to tell you that I was thinking about this song, and then all of a sudden you start playing it. And I've had so many of those moments in my life where I just pick the right song. I don't know why, but I pick the right song. And at the end of the session today, he waved me over, and he's like, "You made my day," and gave me a big hug and a kiss on the cheek, and was like, "I love having you here." And so, it's those moments every single day that I get to experience. you know, the guy with Parkinson's that gets up and dances, even though he's having trouble walking, you know, the woman who doesn't have words to communicate, but will sing her favorite song at the top of her lungs. And then just and I had literally written down, this made my day. and then the guy said that. Just the thank yous and this made my day. It's like just knowing that you've made that effect on someone.
I love that so much.
Made their day a little bit better.
That's so cool. Music is so powerful. I wish people would realize it more.
Yeah.
And like, you may not like music like today's music, that's fine, but like
Sure.
you probably relate to a song from like your childhood or like your wedding song or literally anything, even if it's just one song.
Exactly. we all probably the moments that we remember the most in our lives are connected to a song in some way.
Exactly.
You know?
Or like your high school graduation song. That my aunt
Exactly.
talks about hers all the time.
Yes. Yep.
There's some song out there.
And I feel like it's, correct me if I'm wrong, but sometimes it's not about listening to the melody so much as like the lyrics behind a song on what's actually the story about it. Because sometimes you just listen to music to listen to it and don't pay attention. But sometimes there's like a deeper meaning to the song.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all have that moment in our lives where we're like, oh, I love this jam. And then you listen to the words when you get a little older and you're like, oh, that's what that's about.
Yes, a lot.
Or when artists like years later actually say what it was about and you're like, oh, that hits a little harder than it should have, huh?
Yeah.
Or like who was it by? The dog that I showed you guys and we cried in the office. It's a song where when you listen to the lyrics, it doesn't seem so sad. It could be like a love story. But then we watched the music video and it was
There's a lot of those.
Yeah.
Love music.
Yes.
Very passionate.
If people want to reach out to you specifically, how can they reach out to you or your private practice?
Yeah, I mean, email is usually the best for me. I'm going to spell it. So it's CLEGWAILAMT for music therapy at gmail.com. So it's C for Cindy, Legwaila, MT at gmail.com.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Thank you.
And finally, our last question for you. What message would you leave for anyone listening who might be struggling with their mental health but is hesitant to seek help?
Sure. Just that you're worth it. You know, I didn't start personal therapy until my mom's health started failing. And I realized I got a lot of stuff. You know, we all have, you know, those childhood things that we haven't quite taken care of. And once I started being validated for my feelings and being called out on my stuff and really started taking a look at things, everything just kind of became a little bit more manageable, right? A little less stressful, a little less overwhelming. And there's so many options to therapy that it can be overwhelming, right? I think that's a big piece for everyone. I know I went through that. I was like, oh, I have to get the right therapist. I went through 3 therapists before I found the right therapist and the right techniques. So don't be afraid to try and say, nope, this isn't for me. I need to try something else. Because as therapists, we get that. We want you to find the right thing, and we will not be offended.
People are very worried about hurting their therapist's feelings.
Yes.
I'm like, they're okay with it. I promise.
It's the best way to take time for yourself, I found. Because yes, you are absolutely worth it.
Love that. Perfect ending for the episode.
Thank you so much, Cindy, for joining us. We truly do appreciate it. I loved hearing all the stories and just all about the music therapy that I had no idea before. So
Yeah, now I'm like psychoanalyzing all of my
Yeah.
favorite songs. I'm like, why do I like that song so
Right.
much? Why does it make me cry so hard? So that's very fascinating. I love that.
Yeah.
well, thank you again. We
Thank
appreciate
you for
taking
having
the time
me.
to join
Yes,
us. So,
absolutely.
all right.
And thank you all for watching or listening, whatever platform you happen to be seeing us on.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Stigma Stompers podcast. We truly appreciate all your support.
If you want to see more about what we do in our community, make sure you check out our website. It's namierie.org. Make sure you also click on our t-shirt store tab so you can buy a t-shirt. We get a portion of all the proceeds. And make sure you sign up for our newsletter. It has all of our programming and event updates.
Another way you can get involved is if you feel comfortable sharing your personal story. You can email us at info@namierie.org, or you can give us a call at 814-456-1773.
Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye.